guys, it's another Friday night, and we're here live at LA Bar. I'm Isiah Carey, and it's time for the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Now, it's been a hot weekend. We have some hot topics and some hot guests going. We have lots of people here in the restaurant ready to take part in the conversation and listen in on some of our great guests that we have planned for you. Now, before we begin, let's kick it off with the hot topics of the week. If you're from Colorado, you should hide your face and throw away your statehood card. Why? Because 9 men and 3 women there couldn't get on the same dang page about life or death for a mass shooter, a mass killer. Who does that? Instead of sentencing Colorado movie theater shooter James Holmes to a swift trip to Satan's concession stand, the jury gave this joker look-alike time in prison, life in prison. It's like they couldn't make up their mind between a strawberry or a grape Slurpee. This is after this man killed 12 people. Now, if this were Pookie, he'd be valeting outside nightclub hell with the quickness. Berenice Parker didn't have much to cheese about this week. See that look on her face? That's after the pastors are coming. The pastors are coming. The pastors threw a big monkey wrench in her hero plans. The ministers, through legal maneuvers, forced Mayor Parker to take her equal rights ordinance for the LGBT community to the people for a vote. It will be on the ballot in November. Now, the good reverends say Parker's trying to pull a fast one with ballot language now. Voting yes for the ordinance means no, and no means yes, and maybe means pick a side, fool, and that's the way the hero becomes an enemy. And finally, what in the world? The Republican debate on Fox News was actually exciting. And to prove that, 24 million people tuned in. For the Republicans? Anyway, Donald Trump was Donald Trump, hair and all. Ted Cruz was, well, kind of sort of like Joel Osteen every Sunday morning in church. Chris Christie was hotter than fish grease after Rand Paul rolled up on him the wrong way. Break yourself, fool. And then there was Dr. Ben Carson. Remember him? He's like Yeoman Johnson from Star Trek in that red shirt. That's marked for death. He never leaves the planet, but Captain Kirk does. But it was good TV, electric, exciting. But the Republicans? Okay. And we're beginning our conversation here on the Isiah Factor Uncensored from LA Bar with Paul Betancourt, State Senator. You will always be the tax man to me. I don't care what position you're elected to, you will be the tax man to me. And Judge Eric Andel, who is a political power player in the city of Houston.
Boy, wasn't that kind. Thank you very much. Look, if that's the case, why did he get the Trump seat? Right here, what happened?
Because we know he will make trouble.
We got the Trump position.
Now, the Republican debate on Fox last night, 24 million people, viewers turned in, and it was exciting. I was shocked. You typically expect the Democrats to shine.
Oh, come on. The Republicans, we knocked them, out of the park last night. 24 million viewers. Can you imagine? They turned into a political debate. I mean, look, this has turbocharged the Republican presidential campaigns. We've got a real shot at winning 2016. And regardless of whether you're for Trump or against Trump, he really energized the field, and everybody got their game up, and we had a really good debate.
Well, you know what, Judge? I thought Trump came across as an entertainer. He was out of his league last night looking at it, and I know I will get the hate mail, but so what? Anyway, he was out of his league. He wasn't serious. He didn't have a clear vision for this country. Would you agree, disagree?
Well, he was not asked those kind of questions, first of all.
Right.
In fairness to him, they did kind of give him questions that were off the track of any kind of public policy. They were very personal questions. They knew, for example, that he could run as a third party. Could have asked him that directly. The question about being woman, the woman question and stuff kind of threw him off. He was not prepared to answer that. The day after the debate, he doesn't look so bad. He's doubling down, by the way, on what he's considered to be a bad, but he was not prepared for any policy
Well, Trump
issue.
declares himself the winner of the debate, but I'll tell you this, the winners were
Was he, in your opinion, the winner?
No.
Who was the winner in your opinion?
I think the real winners were Senator Rubio, Senator Cruz, Governor Huckabee, because they appealed to the mainline Republican base with some public policy, and as well as people like Ben Carson with humor, and Carly Fiorina really knocked it out of the park in the first debate, or the happy hour debate. So there were at least 5 clear winners, and while Trump has the celebrity status, the longer this goes on, the people that can pull together good public policy and with some humor are going to be the ones that will shine in the Republican debates.
Judge?
I know when that field winnows down that those candidates are going to have to answer some very tough questions that are very important to Democrats and, by the way, independents. The people who thrived last night tend to be those that thrive in a Republican primary.
Right.
I would take a bet right now that Hillary beats anyone that
I'm going to take the other side because Senator Rubio said it best. He said, look, we've got 17 great candidates up here. The Democrats are having trouble even with nominating Hillary at this point. Look, and I'm going to bet you on this too, Eric. I'll say this, that at the October Democratic debate, it's a snoozer. You put up Hillary versus Bernie Sanders, and you'd be lucky to get 3 million people watching.
Now, what about the Ohio governor
last night?
and his
He
comments
did
last
very
night?
well with a very tough question because
Yes.
he took the Medicaid. He took the Medicaid. I thought he explained that extremely well. He helped it helped him with the mental health issues, getting some folks out of the penitentiary. He actually did very, very well.
Look, we had people like John Kasich talking about going to a gay wedding, and we had people like...
Did you have a problem with that?
No, that's his position, okay? And we're going to
But as a Republican Party, would you guys have a problem with someone embracing the gay community?
Well, he's just said that he went to a gay wedding and he got a positive reaction from his own
You're skipping the
audience.
question, Paul,
No,
now.
I'm not.
I'm saying as a party,
I'm gonna answer
would you
for you.
guys
That's right.
have a problem with that as being accepting in your platform?
Well, accepting is one thing. That's what he was trying to drive across. He said basically, hey, I don't discriminate. I love everybody, okay? Now, the good news is that he had 24 million viewers, and we're going to find out real fast on his polling numbers, too.
Did he win some independents and possibly
Yes.
some Democrats with those comments?
Well, there are two candidates. He did, and Jeb Bush took that immigration question straight on. He went.
But you have to admit, Jeb Bush
that-
wasn't presidential at all. In
No.
the beginning, he was looking very nervous and he
my
wasn't
take
prepared
on that.
for it.
Here's my take
Okay.
on that. I don't think he was interested in being there. I think he sees himself as the front runner and was trying to get home. Kind of like his dad looking at the watch type of thing.
Okay, he wasn't going to, blow the question on how much a gallon of milk was, but he wasn't comfortable. That was obvious,
Right.
and he was not having a good day. Also, Governor Walker didn't hit the ball out of the park. But again, this is early. But just think of this: we're in August, and 24 million people turned in to see the Republican challengers against what is the de facto nominee of the Democratic Party.
Big
Hillary
picture,
Clinton.
what does that say to you,
Big
that
picture-
24 million
In
people?
big picture, it means we've got the momentum on the Republican side, we've got the interest, and this is going to be a lot closer race than Eric would like to admit.
It means that, yes, it's going to be closer because if we come down to Florida and Ohio, it's always close. It's Florida and Ohio. I think that a moderate position, that's what's going to happen. The Republicans ultimately are going to put in a quasi-moderate candidate. Cruz isn't going to make it.
Well, but let me go to this. The Republican Party showed its diversity. We had, Governor Kasich talking about going to a wedding. We had Ben Carson talking about, being a neurosurgeon instead of answering the race card question like everybody always does, being worried that they're offending somebody. He said, "Look, I'm a neurosurgeon first because I look at people not from the skin side but from the brain side." And then when he talked about Washington not having half a brain, it brought the House down. He stuck that landing with a 10. So we've got the diversity, we've got the momentum, and I think we're going to carry this all the way in 2020.
Do they have the diversity? We've got 15 seconds.
He knows this. A couple of those folks don't apply to what you call the hardcore voting base of the Republican Party in primaries. You're going to find out in Iowa exactly what I'm talking about.
Judge Eric Andel, Paul Betancourt, thank you guys for a wonderful conversation. We'll be back with more Isiah Factor Uncensored. After this, we're going to talk about guns and whether I should bring my lightsaber to movie theaters.
All right. Well,
This is how we do it. It's Friday night, and I feel alright. The party's here.
And welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. We're talking about guns now here in our community and around the country. We recently had a verdict in the James Holmes case where he was sentenced to life in prison instead of death in the Colorado shooting. We've also had a recent event in Lafayette, Louisiana, and also one in Tennessee. Joining us to discuss the gun issue is State Representative Carol Alvarado and Scott Trent. Scott, your organization has a long name, so I'm going to look down and read it. Gun Rights Across America. We want to thank you guys for coming on the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Do we have a problem with gun violence in public places around this country?
Absolutely. I mean, I love going to the movies, but I'm second guessing now whether or not I want to go into a movie theater. I think that guns have become too accessible. Look, I am a gun owner. I have a CHL. I have my license. I've been through the training. But when we pass laws like open carry and campus carry, I think it is a solution in search of a problem.
Scott, what good is there for college students to have the ability to walk across campus with guns on their hip in a holster? What good does that provide this country?
Well, keep in mind our new campus carry law that was passed. You're not allowed to open carry on the campus. It has to be concealed. It's also narrowed down to you have to be 21 and older, be able to have a CHL, to be able to carry that weapon. That narrows down the students that can carry. So we're not talking about 19, 20-year-old students. We've got, students in college that are veterans, older students who've served overseas, who are perfectly capable of defending you and me in a shooter situation. To me, that's the type of person I would like to have beside me if something happened. And we've had public shooters in college campuses before. And seconds are, when something like that happens, police are minutes away, and minutes go a long time when somebody's shooting at you.
Now, I was all prepared to shoot Scott down, but when he said, and he brought it back to my memory, that we've had shootings on college campuses, what would be wrong with having like a vet or someone or a police take over?
I don't think it's proven that because more people have guns that less people are going to die. It could create a more volatile situation. I just think that as lawmakers, as policymakers, there are so many more other issues that we ought to be paying attention to than making an environment, making it easier for people to carry guns. Everywhere I've been, people aren't saying, constituents aren't saying, you know what, I have a real problem with having to conceal my weapon. I want to be able to just show it off, just bear it all. People aren't saying that. So I say, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. We didn't have a problem. Now we're going to have a problem. And law enforcement doesn't like this legislation. Almost every police chief throughout Texas, these are the men and women that are going to have to deal with this situation on a daily basis, came to testify against it. They're concerned for their safety and how they're going to enforce the law.
Well, Scott, if law enforcement is against it, how would you know as a civilian this is what we should be doing?
I personally know law enforcement, police chiefs and such that are for this. I know that the majority of our chiefs...
But what if we've seen a succession of police chiefs go to the legislature, those who are interested and concerned about the safety of the public, and they said, absolutely not, we don't want this?
We do have chiefs the majority of them that were against it. The majority of our sheriffs were for it. Keep in mind, this is our law enforcement. Personally, I believe that their job is to enforce law, not make law. We have 44 other states in this country that have open carry. 44 other states. I don't see any reason why they can do it without a problem for years, and Texas will have a problem with this. We have fantastic law enforcement officers in this state. I hear people say that it's going to be the old Wild West again. I don't think Texans are that violent. We're not that bloodthirsty. 44 other states can do this, and they don't turn into the Wild West. I don't see Texas doing that.
Once this bill goes into effect, Houston and Dallas are going to be the largest metropolitan areas in the country with open carry. So,
embarrassing or not? Or disturbing?
It's very concerning. I'm concerned for our men and women who are on the streets every day protecting us that now have this extra burden that they have to be concerned about. I think it's going to impede their ability to do their job.
Scott, what benefit is there from carrying a gun publicly in front of everyone besides maybe frightening some senior citizens?
And the benefit to carrying openly is deterrent versus response. Responding to something is good to have, but if the crime's already taken place, the violence, it's already happened. You know, if somebody gets shot or stabbed or something in front of you, or they draw on you and you have to respond to that's one thing. But if you can deter the situation altogether, then the violence never even happens. And personally, that's what I would want. Now,
Scott Trent, we're running out of time. Scott Trent from Gun Rights Across America.
Yes.
You got a long name. State Representative Pierre Alvarado. I want to thank you guys for coming on the Isiah Factor Uncensored. We'll be back more with hot topics and sports. Stay with us.
This is how we do it. It's Friday night, and I feel alright. The party's here on the west side, so I reach for my door.
Uncensored. Joining us now is Laura Reynolds. You were on a vacation. Now you're back from 610 Sports Radio. And Erica Rico from 93Q. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Now, what do we have? What do we have?
Well, we're going to talk about NASCAR. Tony Stewart is actually being sued by the family of Kevin Ward Jr. You remember he swerved and ended up killing Kevin. A lot of things are happening with this. Number one, Tony's a well-known hothead in NASCAR. Number two, Kevin actually got out of his car, which he's not supposed to do, and he may have been under the influence of marijuana. So the family, there was no criminal charges filed, but the family is going after him now, trying to get money for, you know, his reckless driving.
Hothead or no hothead, there's no way that somebody would purposely hit him. I mean, he's known for being a jerk, but come on. He's not going to purposely go after this guy.
Jerk.
Well,
Well, he is. I mean, he is.
people throwing rocks in glass houses. Kelly Osbourne is under fire right now. Remember, she attacked Juliana Rancic for, you know, racist remarks. Well, now Kelly was on The View this week and said, hey, Donald Trump, if you get rid of all the Latinos, who's going to clean your toilet? Oops. That's a really hard one to come back from.
That's a huge mistake.
So she kind of
and she was chastised on the spot, but she still couldn't really defend herself at the time because it was just wrong.
Well, Rosie
Exactly.
Perez even came back and defended her at the end of the show and said, I know that's not what you really meant
Right,
to say.
right. And we all know
So,
that's not
yeah.
what she meant, but she should have been more thoughtful in the process of saying it.
Before you speak on live TV.
Yeah.
And Lenny Kravitz, I have to talk about him. He was at a show. He ended up squatting down, showed little Lenny to the whole entire world. And my thing is, how the heck are you wearing leather pants without any underwear? Have you ever worn leather pants?
Well,
like, that's not possible.
That's like the 70s or something like that.
Yeah.
I was literally 3 feet away from Lenny at the Super Bowl in Phoenix, but I think I was about 2.5 feet away from little Lenny.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm just amazed by the pictures. If you Google it, Isiah, don't do it, okay? You're not old enough to do it yet. Yeah. Just amazing. Well, one of the things that I want to tell you about, it's Good News Friday because this couple has been married for 68 years.
Excellent.
And they were in the hospital, but they were on separate floors, so the doctors actually made it so that they could be together, and it was just so cute that they were able to join each other and talk about it.
Hospital suite.
It was absolutely sweet. But how about from a 68-year marriage to a marriage that the judge made Johnston do? This Johnston was jealous of his ex's boyfriend, so he actually went after him, challenged him to a duel, and the judge said, that's not the way you handle it. The way you handle it is you're going to marry your fiance and you're going to show her how much you like her.
That's illegal. They really had to get married.
Unbelievable.
That's crazy. That's crossing the line.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
absolutely. And so the last story that I want to tell you about is actually going to be about, and I got to show you the picture too, because I know you're seeing it, but a cochlear implant was put into a 6-year-old daughter, and the father wanted to say, I wanted to be there with you because I know it's going to hurt a little bit. So he actually had a tattoo of the implant put
That's
on
precious.
his ear.
That's precious.
Isn't that just, it just makes you go, aww.
That's a wonderful story.
so
well,
sweet.
thank you guys. We'll be back more with Isiah Factor Uncensored in just a moment. Stay with us. We'll be back.
This is how we do it. It's Friday night, and I feel alright.
And welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Still with us is Erica Rico and Laura Reynolds, and we have to deal with your main guys.
Oh, yeah. Arian Foster in the news for 2 reasons, and neither of them good. Okay, first of all, at Monday practice, first time in full pads, the guy rips his groin. So he has to have surgery. He had that this morning. It was in Pennsylvania, very successful. They're thinking he may be out only 4 to 6 weeks, which is really great. But the Texans, in the meantime, have to figure out a way to cope without him. Second reason he's in the news, because in an article on ESPN magazine, he comes out saying he doesn't believe in God. And so, of course, that's really stirred people up. And
you know, and I put that on my
like
Facebook page, and some people were surprised, some were not surprised, but then some people actually attacked him for not believing in God. They said that they felt like he would be kicked off the Texans, or they'd find a way to get rid of him in God's country, right here in Houston.
Arian's always been outspoken. All you got to do is follow him on Twitter at Arian Foster, and you know that he's very outspoken. He always
All I have to
speaks
do
his
is
mind.
follow him to his house.
Please don't do that again. Please don't do that again.
Does anyone else with
Oh my gosh.
pulls a groin muscle right after he gets a 19-year-old mistress pregnant? Like, is someone trying to tell him something?
I don't know, but what you just said might get us struck by lightning. So
Maybe God isn't listening to him since he didn't believe
I'm
it.
just saying, exactly. Is God trying to tell him, chill out a little bit?
What does his future look like with the Houston Texans?
Well, you know, Bob McNair actually said it the best in the fact that they were kind of expecting a soft tissue injury from Foster because he's kind of known for having these injuries, so it wasn't a big surprise to them. And he kind of, played it off, and so they're going to do without him. They didn't sign anybody else, so you're going to see the current roster on the field.
All right. Thanks a lot, ladies. And Arian Foster, you promised to call me, will you? That's it for the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Have a great night. See you back here next Friday.